Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well? And can you see my screen? Are you still
Yes.
getting some people in the call?
Yeah, we can hear, we can see on the screen.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, if you could kindly mute yourself, because sometimes I get some funny background noise. So, well, it's 10 a.m. Melbourne time, so let's get started. All right. Whenever who's joining, I will just let them in, but we will get started because we only have 60 minutes. All right, hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. So I'm really excited about this session. For some of you that you may not know, I'm Vivian, and I've been working as a management consultant and senior business analyst since 2018 across large corporates here in Australia. So funny thing is, over the last few years, I noticed something big happening. So I can see smart, capable people, they're getting stuck. It's not because they lack ability, but because the job market was rapidly changing with AI and outsourcing. And that's why I started to help more than 400 people transitioning into more analytical and future-proof roles. So there are roles, they are well paid, hard to outsource, and highly valued across industries. So yeah, I'm really excited to share with you today the exact framework that I use to help people to make the shift. All right, so let me explain why this matters right now. AI and outsourcing, they aren't removing job titles overnight. They're removing tasks quietly, and when enough tasks disappear, and then the role will eventually follow, right? So, yeah, salary growth is also slowing in operational work, while analytical and decision-based roles, they continue to expand. So, well, if you don't understand this shift early, what you're really missing is not just information. You will be missing positioning, how to position yourself in a more strategic role, and you will be missing the language that employers hire for. And also, you are missing the chance to move before the pressure hits, and you'll be very reactive. Because you know what, some of you might be thinking, so this doesn't apply to me, I'm safe, or this probably cost me a lot. Or, well, I will think about it next year, and that's completely normal. But how many of you have been thinking about this since, I don't know, a couple of years ago? So, you know what? Here's the truth. Waiting feels safe, but it's often the most expensive choice long term. So, this isn't about fear, it's about moving earlier. So, while you still have the control. So let me ask you a very quick question. Who's already feeling the shift? Quick hands up or quick type yes in the chat. If you notice anything like those in your company, new AI tools, new AI training, new automation projects, outsourcing talks being to India and Philippines, or sometimes even to South America, to Russia, and also teams getting smaller or being restructured. Just put a yes in the chat box and let me know if you've been through that. Yes. Thanks. Yeah, I can see a lot of people have this experience because that's not really new. Also, I want to ask you another question. Which one describes you right now? So, A, if you feel like my job still feels stable, but I'm not sure for how long, that's A. And B, I can feel things shifting, and it makes me nervous. And C, I know I need to upgrade my skills. I'm not just sure where to start. A and B and C, where do you stand? Put your numbers in the chat. So A, my job still feels stable, but I'm not sure for how long. And B, I can feel things shifting and it makes me very nervous. And C, I know I need to upgrade my skills. I just don't know where to start. Okay, let me see a few answers. A and B and C and B and okay. B and C. There's a lot of B and Cs. Yeah, it's very normal because everyone's standing at them different stage and yeah, but this session is really helping you to see where you stand and how we can well improve ourselves and then how we will not be impacted by this, but then how we can utilize this to make sure we are more competent in the new market. Okay, so let me clarify who this session is really for. It's for professionals who feel or who are actually capable, but they feel underpositioned. For example, you're not lacking intelligence or work ethic, but just something feels stuck. And it's for people who can see AI and outsourcing trends happening, but they don't know where to move next, or they don't know which tools to learn next. And it's for those who sitting in operational or supporting roles where the work is repetitive and salary growth feels very capped. So yeah, and this is for people who want to move into more analytical and high value roles without quitting everything and starting from zero. Nobody likes to quit everything and starting from zero, right? So if even one of those resonate with you, and then you're exactly who that was designed for, we're gonna talk about each of the problems and how do we solve it later in this session. Okay, so from previous slides and chats, I can see lots of frustration there. So let's talk about the first one that I see many people that I work with. Like you are doing your job so well, maybe even better than before, but somehow it just doesn't feel progress. Like imagine your work keeps piling up, yet it's more repetitive and more automated, and it's you're just feeling you're less recognized. And you start to see systems doing more what you used to do, but no one's really explaining what that means to you. And deep down, you might be thinking, I'm working harder than ever, but am I actually moving forward? So if that sounds familiar, you're never alone because that's exactly where the conversation begins. And if you have the right strategy, it's actually not a hard one. And here's the second thing. A lot of people tell me this. Well, Vivian, I know AI is here. I know outsourcing is happening. I know my role is changing. I know. But I still have no idea where to start. And honestly, that's way more common than you think. Because many people, they aren't confused about whether they need to change. They're confused about how to change and where to go next. It's that feeling of I want to step out, I want to move into something more stable, more strategic, but what exactly am I going to jump into? Because you are busy, you are capable, and you are aware of the shifts happening around you, but nobody ever taught you the actual pathway. So you end up stuck in the same place. It's not because you're not trying, it's not because the direction isn't clear. That's exactly what here is for. So we want to turn something like, I know I need to change into, well, I know where I'm going and I know how to start. And here's the third frustration. No one's it's the one that it is hardest to admit because you want to change. You're probably thinking about it for a while. But then you've seen others pivot into new roles, picking up new skills, moving ahead, and you want that too. But then deeply you're asking yourself, what if I can't pick up? What if I can't catch up? What if it's too late? There's just thousands what ifs in your mind. But and also between work, family, everything else, and you know what? Pick up new skills and moving ahead. It sounds like a lot of effort. And then, it's easy to lose confidence or question if you're ready. But the truth is, it's not about being fearless. It's about having the right roadmap and support and the strategy. And that's exactly what this session is here to give you a bit of clarity, direction, and confidence to take that to the next step. Okay, let's zoom out for a moment and look at some of the industries where things are really shifting, especially for the roles they feel manual or repeatable. Take accounting and payroll, for example. Many organizations are outsourcing bookkeeping, APAR being account payable, account receivable, and payroll functions. In fact, the global accounting outsourcing market is projected to hit over 80 billion US dollars by 2030. That's 80 billion US dollars. And the funny thing, in payroll and HR functions, nearly 1 in 3 US companies in recent data, they've outsourced at least one HR task. And guess what? Payroll being the most common. And then let's look at the banking and finance operations. These aren't just about tellers anymore. Imagine the back office, compliance, reporting, customer service, they're being reshaped by AI and outsourcing. And finally, customer service and contact centers with chatbots, AI assistants, automation, the frontline human roles, they're under the pressure. So, if you are working in these areas, accounting, payroll, customer service, banking operations, yada yada, and you might already be feeling the start of change. Might be few manual tasks or maybe more, outsourcing talk, maybe around your team. And then you may have just that question in your mind, what happens next? Or what will happen to me? So, yeah, that's exactly why we're here today because the work you do may still be valuable, but the way you are valuable is changing. And this session is helping you to see where you stand and what you can do. So you don't just keep doing more of the same, but actually moving into a role that is future proof. Let's keep going. We were pausing for a moment for a quick self-check using our career scorecard. And then we'll move into how you can take control of this change instead of being caught by that. So, here's a quick self-assessment for you. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. We have a simple career scorecard to help you to see where you stand in the AI era. I'm going to give you 9 prompts, and I want you to rate yourself from 0 to 10 for each one. There's nothing right or wrong, it's just a mirror. So I'll give everyone 30 seconds to grab a piece of pen or paper and let me know you're ready. I will be back in 20 seconds and let's start.
Recording in progress.
Ready? Okay, the first is cognitive agility. So that means how well do you learn, adapt, and sense check? What does that mean? So the first category is called learning transferability. Let's say, can you take something that you just learned and actually use it tomorrow? For example, you watch a quick Power BI tutorial tonight, and tomorrow you can build a simple sales dashboard. So that's called learning transfer, not memorizing. And second, critical evaluation. So what does that mean? Can you tell whether AI's answer is right, wrong, or dangerous? For example, ChatGPT writes you a document and you instantly spot the part that doesn't match business logic. And the third, cross-disciplinary thinking. What does it mean? Can you connect business, technology, strategy, and risk departments into one picture? For example, if you're working in bank and then maybe in technical teams, and then you see payments start falling, you just don't blame the system. You will consider, well, it might be a system delay, it might be a new compliance rules, or it might be a merchant configuration, it might be different reasons. Okay, The second category, creativity and innovation. So that part that AI still can't fully copy. First, problem reframing. What does it mean? You can turn a messy problem into a clear question that everyone understands. For example, stakeholder says the system doesn't work. And you will ask, do you mean the workflow doesn't work, or the approval logic doesn't work, or the permissions doesn't work? And the fifth, creative integration. So what does it mean? You can use the tools that you already have to create smarter solutions. So if you've been working with, let's say, Slack, Notion, email automation, so your team can finish weekly reporting in just 5 minutes. And next, continuous improvement drive. What does it mean? You naturally see inefficiencies and you want to improve them. For example, you notice your team recreates monthly reports manually and you're proposing a template and just an easy, simple Excel template or automation.
Changing the cost.
If anyone can mute yourself. Okay, where are we? I got lost. Continuous improvement drive. Okay, I think I've covered that. Human-centric skills. So, what is human-centric skills? So, that's AI's weakest area and your strongest advantage. And the seventh being communication and persuasion. So, it's not about talking more, it's about talking in a way that people actually understand. And also cross-cultural collaboration. So that means working smoothly with global teams. For example, Australian, Indian, Philippines, Asia, Europe, because India teams prefer detailed context, while Australian stakeholders they want a direct, concise points. And last, influence and trust. You being the person that everyone comes to because you're reliable. For example, testing breaks, and people come to you and then ask to have some resolution first, not the manager, because they trust your judgment. So, yeah, adding everything up, I'm staying here for 30 seconds, adding everything up, and then put your scores in the Zoom chat. $79. That's a good number, Camila. Congratulations. Curious about it. What's the shortest or what's the lowest? Which one has the lowest score? 50, 72. Okay. Number one is the lowest. Okay. That's normal. Yeah, because everyone's different. Seeing different numbers. Any more numbers? I'm gonna get in here. 70, 69. Okay. 69, 67. Okay. Yeah, that's actually really normal. And then I don't mind if you put your numbers, which has the lowest score in the chat box as well. So it's really good to understand where everyone stands. Go back one slide, of course. You can simply put the number in the chat box. So I can see number one has the lowest. Yeah. 7, 7 and 1. Communication, persuasion, and learning transferability. Okay. 3, 6, 7, 3, 1, 9. Continuous improvement. So a bit of everything from everyone. I can see a lot of sevens. Communication, persuasion are definitely. Yeah. Cool. It's really good to know where everyone stands. All right, about communication persuasion, and there's always way to train that. I know some of you, even including myself, English is not the first language or it's not the mother tongue, and then a lot of people saying communication persuasion, you need to be a natural you need to be an English speaker and you can do it well. And then I can tell you, no, absolutely wrong, because sometimes English is never your problem, but what is the problem is the structure and the way how you process information. So yeah, this definitely something to work on. And then let's see if we have time and I can cover it with a bit of my sharing. All right, but we need to keep moving. Yeah. So until now it's 10:20. So a lot of you might have the question, is it all about the fear? Absolutely not. Because here's the exciting part. Let's talk about what the change actually means for you. First, it's a chance to turn all the repetitive and manual work into something more strategic. So instead of just following steps or fixing errors, because I saw William, you have a payroll like in brackets after you, so probably you're doing payroll, and that's exactly repetitive and manual work. But then you know what? You can start thinking bigger, like solving problems, improving process, and making an impact. And I will show you how later during this session. And second, it's about repositioning yourself for higher value roles. Because when you learn to think like a business analyst, you move from being the person who get told what to do to the person who actually come for answers. And finally, it's about growing with technology instead of fighting it. So you don't have to be afraid of AI. And when you know how to use and guide it, it actually makes you more valuable. So that's the actual big opportunity. And we will do some hands-on later and show you how to improve it immediately. All right. So you probably noticed that I mentioned business analyst. So what exactly is business analyst thinking? So it's not a job title. It's never just as simple as a job title. It's a mindset. It's the ability to step back and see the bigger picture, to ask the why before the how. And it's about connecting all the dots together between data, system, and people. So decisions aren't based on guesswork, but on real insights. And also, it's always about looking for smarter, simple ways to get things done, and being the person who brings clarity when everyone else is stuck in the weeds. So that's actually what makes somebody truly valuable in the new world. It's not about another tool of SQL, Python. Tools are simple. Tools are the cheapest with the AI in this market. I will repeat myself. Tools are the cheapest. Your thinking is most valuable. So, because no matter what changes, people who can analyze, people who can connect and communicate will always be in demand. Okay, let me share a quick story, because this is reality of a lot of people that I work with. So one of my mentee used to work in payroll. She was great at what she did, but the work was repetitive and process heavy. So when her company went through restructuring, her role was actually made redundant. So instead of panicking, she decided to treat it as a reset. And that's exactly what we work on inside my mentoring program. So we turn real experiences like yours into future-proof careers. So she learned how to think like a payroll business analyst to look at payroll from process and system point of view. It's never just a simple data entry. And you know what? Within 3 months, she landed a payroll business analyst role, and her salary literally doubled from 75 to 150. Her work became more strategic, and more importantly, she felt secure again because nobody will outsource her into Philippines. So that's what happens when you learn to reposition yourself. The layoff actually becomes your launchpad. All right, let me give you another real example of somebody who's in tech background. So yeah, one of my other mentee, she was a data analyst. She's super capable, but she started noticing that tools like Copilot could literally auto-generate her dashboard and reports in 1 second. That's scary. And her company began outsourcing part of the data team overseas to Singapore. So, yeah, most people around her get nervous, but then she decided to act early. So she learned how to think like a business analyst. They connect the data into business problems, improving workflows, and communicating insights that leaders could actually use. And 4 months later, she landed a digital transformation analyst role. Her salary jumped by 40% from 100 to 140, and her work became more strategic, way more strategic. And now she's the one helping her company to decide which AI tools to use instead of being replaced by them. So, really, that's what happens when you stop competing with automation and you know what, you start leading it. All right. So, a few years ago, I started helping people to land better jobs. Their friends, former colleagues, referrals, and honestly, I was pretty good at it because people were getting interviews, people were landing roles. But here is what kept me awake at night. Because I'd see incredibly talented people. They're smart, they're hardworking, they're capable. They accept 65K offer when I knew they could command 120 or even 150K. And they'd say something like, well, jobs like that aren't for people like me. Or I don't have the right background. I don't have the right degree. I don't have this. I don't have that. Or I should just be grateful that somebody wants to hire me. And you know, the most frustrating part, I couldn't always explain why some people land six-figure roles quickly, while others struggled for months. So I was helping people, but I didn't have a clear, repeatable approach that I could teach. So later, I became very obsessed with figuring out the pattern. What separated people who landed 150K role in 90 days from those who struggled for a year. So I started tracking everything. What did successful candidates' resume have in common? What did they answer? What did they answer interview questions differently? How did they do that? What makes hiring manager choose some over the more experienced candidates? And after working with 20 plus people, and then that's just within 3 months, and three patterns became crystal clear. First pattern, result language. The people who got hired faster didn't list responsibilities. They showcased the measurable business impact. Not like I manage data analysis, but I analyzed 50,000 customer records, I identified 2 million revenue opportunity, and I drove 80% sales increase. How does that sound? And the second pattern, structured interview responses. Structured interview responses is like they didn't wing their interview answers. They used a specific structure for every behavioral question, like STAR. Sometimes you hear STAR, but sometimes I use another framework like INVEST. And this framework every time because you clearly need a structure. And somebody said hello from PA. Hello, Rosette. Hello, hello. And pattern three, proof over promise. Because they didn't just say what they could do the work, they actually showed it. They had a portfolio of projects, real analysis, tangible deliverables. So hiring managers stop seeing them as potential candidates, but they see them as, well, I see the capability in them and they can start work immediately. So, you know what? Once I see these patterns, I organize them into a structured framework, not some complicated technical platform, but just a clear step-by-step approach that anyone can follow. So yeah, today the framework, what I call, well, the framework I call is the Reframe, Rebuild, and Rise framework. It's not magic, it's not a secret, and it's just a structured approach that takes the guesswork out of landing high-paying roles. So yeah, here's what it's helped. It helps people to achieve hundreds of professionals. They from unemployed to 120 to 150Ks, average timeline 3 to 4 months from start to offer. But again, everyone's background differs. Some people don't have any backgrounds, some people have big backgrounds, and some people learns very fast. Again, everyone's different. And 80% they were career starters or career transitioners. They don't have any business analyst experience at all. And it's not because they were special, but because they followed a proven approach. And that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through today. The same framework that I use to land six-figure offers, even when they're competing against people with more experience. Okay, hey guys, I want to make a quick deal with you today before I jump into my framework. I do have an unhidden agenda, and essentially, I will be selling you something today. I will be straight up and tell you that I will be selling you something today because I know the longer that I can work with you, the more I can help you to achieve the results that you want, right? So, yeah, who would agree here? If a mentee works longer with you and spend more time with you, they would get better results. Let me know, yes or yes, right, in the chat. So, yeah, great. So now here's the saying. I want to make a deal with you. One, if you hear today from me and you don't net resonate with you, that's first group of people. Or you think I'm full of crap, or you don't believe that what I'm actually saying. It might be my haircut, it might be my accent, or even it might be just the way I talk. So if that's you, that's cool because yeah. And then I never want you to come to another training or another event again because for obviously for you that's waste of the time. So yeah, it's totally cool. But then there is a second type of person, and I'm speaking to you now. If you get the value of what you're listening to today, if the things I say make you think, I believe that I see, I understand, and I need to learn more about it. Well, I'm going to invite you to book a time so we can help you to map out a plan for your career where the topics we teach today, I can help you to implement deeper in your career. And that's going to come by spending more time together because quite frankly, I only have 60 minutes today. I don't have enough time so to continue the conversation after this. If you found valuable in what you've heard, would you be okay if I ask some of you who are interested to book a time later to have a chat so we can go through and map out a plan around how we can implement some of these strategies in your career? Would that be okay? So let me know if that's cool in the chat. Cool, lovely. Thank you guys. Let's move forward. So, back to the framework. How to start? We start from reframe. Reframe is the first biggest shift. And honestly, that's the most job seekers get stuck. Because people tell me all the time, I want to DIY, I want to fix my resume myself, I want to apply and see what happens. But here's the problem. You are applying without understanding the market demand. And you really have to understand what hiring managers actually looking for. So a lot of people end up sending out a CV full of tasks, not outcomes. They think their job title equals their value. That's the biggest mistake. And they think, okay, I'm busy, so I'm valuable. But you know what? The market never awards busyness. They never hire for business. It hires for clarity, problem solving, and business impact. Because Reframe is about seeing your experience through a completely different lens, the lens of a business analyst. Once you shift that perspective, your entire job search becomes much easier, faster, and way more strategic. So, yet, reframe, reposition yourself. That's where your actual value shows. And the second step, after you've reframed how you see your work, the next step, rebuild your value. So this is the part it's actually much more practical than people think. Rebuild means, well, taking the work you actually do and developing the skills that make you valuable beyond your actual job title. Things like process mapping, things like spotting gaps, things like understanding pain points, analyzing requirements, and using simple data to explain what's happening. So you don't need to become more technical. You just need to learn how to think in a more structured, analytical way. Because these small skill upgrades are what open the doors to, let's say, payroll, BA, HR systems, and a lot of transformation roles. Because rebuild is your career starts shifting from operational to professional. And third, the final step, rise. So this is where you take everything that you've reframed and rebuilt, and you position yourself for higher value roles. And rise is not about changing industry or learning a brand new skill set. It's about managing your existing value more visible in the language that hiring managers and leaders actually care about. That means packaging your work as projects, not as tasks, and showing how you can improve accuracy, you can reduce delays, you can solve problems, or make the process more efficient. This is where people start to see you not as operations, but somebody who contributes to real business outcomes. Rise is the moment that you shift from execution to influence. And once you hit the level, like AI, outsourcing, automation, none of that can replace you. So, yeah, now you probably get it. It's about building a career that grows with the value and it grows with technology. It's not about tasks, it's not about simple responsibilities, and then never against any technology. So they understand how to take data, how to take system and analysis and turn that into smarter decisions that drive real results because technology doesn't replace human thinking. It actually amplifies it. So when you learn how to guide AI instead of fearing it, it will become your biggest advantage. All right. So if this is hitting home, you're exactly in the right place. Well, I've helped over hundreds professionals make the exact transition from operational roles at 65K to business analyst positions at 120 to 150 in 3 to 4 months. So not because they were smarter or they had the advantage, but because they had a clear framework to translate their experience. I'll mention it again to translate their experience, to build a resume that actually get noticed and answer interviews with confidence. So if you've been thinking, I can do this work, I just don't know how to show it, that's exactly what we are solving today. So stick with me. I'm going to walk you through the exact framework that my client gets. And at the end, if you want personalized support during your own transition, I will show you how we can work together. Sounds good? All right, so let's make it practical again. Back to your scorecard we did 10 minutes ago or maybe 20 minutes ago. Think about one project or one task that you've worked on recently. Maybe it was payroll processing, it was a report that you built or a workflow that you helped to improve. And now let's look at let's look at it through new lens. Well, I call it the framework, the reframe rebuild filter, rise filter. So because once you start spotting these patterns, you will never look at your old job the same way again. Here's your worksheet. You can scan the document, use your phone, use your QR code, or I can do a copy and paste, and I can put in the shared chat. Let me do that. So grab your workbook and we will go to the next slide. I'll give everyone 30 seconds. I've also copy and pasted the worksheet into the chat box. Okay, so you can probably find, you can see my right-hand side corner. There is a screenshot of the PDF that you will see once you scan the QR code. Stick to that and yeah, first reframe. Ask yourself, what problems were you really solving beyond obvious tasks? Doesn't matter what industry you're coming from. And second, rebuild. Was there something that you made smarter or more efficient? Look at the examples in my screen. And third, rise. If you had to tell your manager about it, what real business impact did it create? You have to add value to yourself, not like being silent there. So, yeah, I'll give you 2 minutes. If you can't think of an example, let me help with that. You can put your situation in the chat box. Give everyone 2 minutes, and once you've done that, simply put your answers in the chat box and then let's have a look. How did everyone go? Okay, so William says, end of financial end of year STP file root cause identified issue of Chris 21 system. Do you mean C21 as in Chris 21? My limited information of payroll. Yeah. Use VBA macro identify data, save few hours, increase accuracy. Yeah, that's great. What I could do better is when you say save few hours, give the exact number and bonus payment increase by a few hours of bonus. Okay, so give an exact number of that few hours and then what's the impact? Like annualize it. And then accuracy. For example, give something measurable. For example, previously, if you have an agreement with a client as an SLA, like your KPI, and then you were previously not hitting that, but then once you increase accuracy, and then your company might be like leading in a leading position into accuracy, make something like that. So make the impact bigger. Okay, Camila says, when I joined my company, the new investor complete a manual from using PDF checklist, design a shared in tech team requirements to instead automatically acceptance from checklist, acceptance email, automatic sends depending on app status. Okay, brilliant, Camila. I like the example. I really like the example. Same with William. When you talk about impacts, you really have to give kudos to yourself. So when you say it reduced the amount spent and new applicants from 40 minutes to 15 minutes. So like so what for the business? Is that reduce the money or it reduce the compliance issue? What's further what's anything further after that? Reduce the cost to serve. Yes, annualize it. How much? And then you can multiply by how many FTEs and their cost and there are always benefits of like tangible and intangible benefits. Think about more. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to think about the rise part, the impact part. It's just like you're telling your manager about it. You just say, "Oh, I saved 25 minutes." The manager will be like, "For what?" But then let's amplify it. What's the overall impact to the business? What's the overall benefit that you bring to the business? And reduce some compliance risk from risk perspective, from trade-off, from a lot of perspective. There's a lot of things that you can see. And that's exactly the difference between like the executor, like most of us, and the manager, because they see at more strategic level, while a lot of us we just do things, we just report things, and we don't think, oh, where does this number go? What does the number mean for the business? Just dig deeper. Yes. No worries. Happy to help. Okay, I will take another one. Chance that our go-to-market approach is not efficient and team on its own timeline, create a cohesive brand hub and a GTM time calendar to show R&R and increase visibility and plus clear. Sweet. That's really good example. So I would dig deeper on, well, when you say in the end the process is more clearer, explain a bit more. So before there was like there are duplicate handling or handoffs or there's what's the risk of process being not clear? And then how like after you improve that, did you have like a template or well you have a brand hub? Yeah, that's good. And did you create any SOPs? Did you streamline it? How did you standardize it? And then how much hours did you save? And then equivalent to dollar value per annum. And then any also reduce increase customer satisfaction because now every team is doing the same thing in the same way, so there's no surprise of the quality, right? So there's a lot of things like that. Yeah, and they also created one on regional level, so that means it's scalable. So yeah, just I realize a lot of us we describe things like it's a level that we see. For example, if you have a child and if your child is 1 meters and then they can only see things at 1 meter level, but then make yourself like 2 meters and you can see things higher, further, more strategic. It's it's just a lot of aspect that we are missing from there. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing your example. Let's keep moving. So, yeah, you know what? Now you've seen how powerful it is. Again, using the same framework. And then here's a quick example that I give. I reviewed with everyone, and I put an example here as well. And yeah. So let's come to this page. Cool. Malvika, thanks for your message. Let me see if we still get time because I have a hard stop at 11 a.m. So let's finish this presentation first. All right. Yeah. If you've been listening today and thinking, well, I get it, I know where I stand, but I don't want to figure out that alone. So here's your next step. Inside my business analyst transformation program, we will take everything you learned today, the reframe, rebuild, rise, and then turn it into your personal roadmap. Because I will help you to identify your risks, build your BA skill set, work on real projects and get fully prepared for interviews and also have an AI tools and we've got a lot of internal courses and until you actually land the role. So if you'd like to see what the roadmap looks like for you, scan the QR code, simply scan the QR code and we will explore it all together. I'll give everyone 60 seconds to find a good time and then we will go to QA. And remember, the best time to future-proof your career was yesterday, and the next best time, it's right now. So again, I'm going to put the link in the chat box. So if that's easier for you, and meanwhile you're doing that, let me look at Movica's answer. Root cause, implement a manual customer order process by utilizing API integration, scheduled job, financial settlement, base work, activate failed financial settlement. Yes, I like that project, and I assume that's probably Australian context, 3PL logistics, yeah. And on impact part, how do you sell your story? Because job hunting is a sales process. You really have to sell yourself hard. It's very similar to William Chan and Camila, because everyone is really good at describing what they do, but when it comes to selling themselves, it's really hard. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm limited by time, but I know for each and every of you, we can go deeper, and I can help you by giving you a couple of more systems and resources that might you to help with the topic. So yeah, for those of you who are ready and would like to have a chat, we can map out a bit of the plan and go a bit deeper. And I'm gonna put my link into I'm already put the link right now, and I'm going to ask who here would be interested in making the time. It's a free strategy call to map out the plan so I can help you a bit more. I've seen a few bookings into my calendar. Thank you for that. Give you another couple of minutes. Thanks, William. You've got the time, Hashika. I've got it. Ramesh, I've got it. Yeah. Well, we have to keep going. Got a few more. Yeah, William, I can confirm I saw that. Yeah. Camila, don't worry, adding the details, but everyone get the link, right? Cool. Brilliant. All right, I'm going to the next slides. If you miss the link, it's in the chat box. All right. So, quickly, let's talk about what staying stuck is really costing you because it's not just about money. And first, the opportunity cost, the cost of not doing something. Because right now, you're earning around 65K, 80K in an operational role, or maybe nothing. So, a business analyst at your level, it might be 120, 180, or even 180, 150, or even 180 role. So that's a 55K to 85K gap every single year. So yeah, that's not just the number on the screen. That's a vacation that you keep postponing, the financial breathing room that you don't have. Maybe that's a retirement contribution that you're not making. And the second cost, the knowledge cost, the cost of not knowing something. Because you don't know how to translate your operational experience into analytical language. So, yeah, your resume gets skipped. You don't know how to answer, well, tell me a time that you use data, use system to solve a problem. So, you fumble interviews for roles that you could absolutely do. So not knowing how to position yourself, that keeps you invisible to hiring managers who need exactly what you offer. It's such a pity. And the third, execution cost, the cost of not implementing something. Maybe you've watched YouTube videos, read a lot of articles. I know you've been reading my LinkedIn newsletters, and you know you need to pivot, but without a clear roadmap, without someone helping you to rebuild your resume, practice real interview scenarios, and create portfolio-worthy projects, you'll stay exactly where you are. So here's the truth. The question isn't whether you can afford to invest, let's say 5,000, 8,000 in your career transition. It's whether you can afford another year of 65K when 120K or 160K is within reach, coming back to the same event and hoping something magical happens. And magic doesn't exist. We all know that we are adults. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here today. I hope this session gives you a bit of clarity, direction, and confidence to shape your career, not just the surviving the changes. So, yeah, if you'd like to stay connected, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow the newsletters, which I believe a lot of you been doing that, and then get the latest industry hiring trends and job seeking tricks. Or again, the QR code is here. You can simply jump into the call. Let's map out your career roadmap together. Remember, you don't need to have all this figured out right now. You just need to take the next right step with the right support. So cool. I will see you next time. Lovely to see you, everyone. And looking forward to talk to those who booked the call very soon. Bye.